In this episode, we dived into the incredible journey of Milos Eric, an entrepreneur who went from building $200 websites to launching Oysterlink, a game-changing job board in the hospitality industry. He shared with me how he grew an audience of 280,000 monthly visitors before even launching his platform, the SEO strategy that skyrocketed his traffic, and his vision for transforming job boards into true career networks. If you're in the hiring space or just love a great startup story, then you won't want to miss this one. Let's jump in. Milos, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Martin. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. My absolute pleasure. So let's jump straight into it, shall we? Be interesting understanding a bit more about your background, your professional background, and what led you to starting your job board.
Sure. Thank you. Again, thank you for having me here. I heard a lot of really nice things about, your show and your episodes. And, when I was told to check it out, I told my team, like, guys, we have to get there. So thank you again for having me here. I'm really excited to be here. So as for my background, I kind of started being in this entrepreneurship kind of mindset and industry even from when I was 18, 19. It's a very funny story. I enrolled into a computer science university, and I was introduced to WordPress and took a free Udemy course, looked at it for 5 days, printed out a bunch of cafes and bars, theme forest, themes, printed out in color, and went straight out to the street and asked for a manager in a cafe and said, "Do you guys have a website?" And they said no. And I said, "You should have a website." And I did this for, I think, 7 or 8 days. I took to like 40 or 50 cafes, and the 50th accepted for me to do the website for them. And I remember I sold it for $200. So the entire website. And to me, this was amazing. Like, oh my God, look at all this money I'm going to make. And I think I took like a month to actually do this. So that was the first time I was in the hospitality industry related to that. But then after that, it went from small websites to bigger websites, and I kind of built my own agency with a few friends from the university, which I then sold. Then I started working for a few other companies, and then started my other business that was kind of successful. But then COVID hit, and this business was completely, shut down because it was a social network for athletes. Mm-hmm. We had like 25, 30,000 active, users on a daily basis, but then COVID came out and completely shut it down. So my developer, who was working with me at the time, we didn't have just to minimize all the cost, we had a bunch of these freelance people and so on and so forth. At one time I had 25 employees. By the way, I was 24 at the time. And like a young guy literally lying about my age to people so they would respect me. It was really interesting. But anyways, he called me and said, "I know that your company is going down, come over here." And that's where I came. This was the company called Digital Silk at the time, and our founder, this company is still operational. I was there for a few years. I was the COO, and or like he likes to say, COO. And yeah, it's actually that. You just work with the problems anyways in an agency. So just to make this a little shorter, we were on a company trip and we were having some, company dinner or something. And he said, "What we're doing here is amazing. It's great. Our agency is one of the top, and it is actually one of the top in the industry, but it's not a product. I want to build a product that can be scaled into $1 billion business, that you can, have a single service or a few services given out to people, right?" And we were bouncing some ideas, and he came up with the idea for the hospitality hiring platform. Why? Because huge turnover, huge turnover in this industry, huge demand. No one built it in a way that it satisfies the needs of the user. And the user is having the need to have a very simple, very, very simple job board. Like imagine Match.com and all the more complex, dating sites, and then Tinder comes out and you're just swiping. That's Oysterlink. So we are going after, simplicity, focus on the hospitality, making sure our users are able to find what they're looking for, and making it as simple and as fast and as seamless as possible for the talent.
Fantastic. So the hospitality niche is all down to the fact that you've spent a lot of your entrepreneurial career providing digital solutions into the hospitality industry.
Yeah. When I look back, I think Steve Jobs said, you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards, right? Like you don't know why something happened because, why something happened in the moment versus, looking back, why it happened. And when I think about it, everything I did so far kind of led me to this specific moment where I now have the experience of why don't people do and create user-generated content? Is if you look at the numbers, for example, less than 1% on LinkedIn are those content generators, those who are creating content for the rest. And this was a huge issue because my premise in my previous company that I ran, this social network, was of course everyone is going to post this, of course everyone is going to be active. And then you start looking and you see that they are not active. Of course they're not active, they're just there to look at others.
Yeah.
And this is that's one part. And then I had a part where I was running an agency where I had more than 600-700 clients that I was working with, including Marriott, including some Aqualina from Miami, and so on, like some huge hospitality industry brands, where we saw behind the scenes what are their issues, and we saw how much they're struggling with hiring, how much they're struggling with employer branding to reach the new generations. And all of this kind of was pieced together, and that's what we are doing with Oysterlink right now.
Excellent. So how long ago was it then that you started Oysterlink?
So Oysterlink officially, didn't really start yet. Let's. I'm gonna put the timeline in perspective. So what we've built is an informational site. So we had this idea that we are going to build an informational site, create resources for hiring side, so for the companies, and then for the employer side as well. We are going to create resources that will attract some people. We were hoping to find maybe 5,000 people, 10,000 people, and that's it, done, to have any kind of engagement and any kind of usage prior to launching the actual platform and the actual product. So
Interesting.
actual product it's not even launched yet. We are launching it end of February. And that's the hiring platform you will see, with all the filters and all, creating profiles and CVs and, applicants tracking and all of the bells and whistles, but in a simpler way than some others that are creating them. So what we did is we created this website. And we created this website a little over a year ago. And we just started creating content. Writing articles that are helpful for hiring, for interviews, for salaries, for all of it. And then we started receiving, some traffic, and then we did some paycheck calculators and stuff like that. So we started receiving traffic, and then we started receiving requests to post jobs, and we didn't even have jobs. So what we did, we just put jobs within the articles that were literally paragraphs within the articles.
Okay.
And then it went going more and more, and like people are now requesting more and more jobs. So we created kind of a snippet. We just, it's not even a whole, an entire job, right? And then we built a little bit on top, and now we have almost all functionalities of a job board on this website. and it's been only a year, and we are looking at more than 280,000 people visiting our website every month.
Wow, that's a great achievement. So it's quite interesting because obviously, the job board is a two-way marketplace. You've got job seekers that you're trying to attract, and you've got employers that you're trying to attract. And it sounds very much like, and it's a chicken and an egg situation. When you launch a job board, what do you do first? Do you get jobs on there, or do you get job seekers on there? And one doesn't come without the other a lot of the times. And it sounds very much like what you've tried to do for the last 12 months is attract the job seekers so that when you go live with the employers, you've got a really decent pool of talent that you can advertise to, which seems like a really sensible plan if you can do that. But through organic reasons, what you've done is you've also attracted hirers who want to post jobs, which is really interesting. And I'm glad you mentioned the salary calculators, because I took a quick look at the website before this call, obviously, and before this interview, because I wanted to kind of get some ideas, and I do it with everybody. And I thought, wow, and took a look at some of the kind of visitor stats and thought, really, really impressive. And then I noticed on the SEO side of things, there's a lot of traffic that goes to those salary calculators. So was that the question I have around that? And it's quite interesting because we were going to talk about some kind of milestones and achievements, and I think those kind of numbers are a significant achievement. Are you concerned that attracting people through content that can be quite generic as well in terms of the salary calculators is going to attract people who might not be relevant to your employer clients?
I am not concerned at all. I know that for a fact. I know that we are getting people who are not 100% relevant to hospitality through these
Yeah.
pages and this kind of content. That's why we didn't go deeper into that. We are not launching new pages. We are not growing this content. The content is growing on its own. Like we literally launched the idea, and it started ranking, and it went like that. So now we could go into millions of visitors a month if we wanted to, because we know what to do right now, but we just don't want to. And because that's not the audience that we would like. But that audience, if you look at the Ahrefs or SEMrush or other tools, it's not actually showing the actual picture, because what we're looking at analytics and Google Search Console, and that is actually showing that we have more than 85% of traffic and clicks and everything from the jobs and the career resources. For some reason, that Ahrefs and the others are not able to actually catch that properly.
Okay.
But they are catching. They are, I think, overestimating paycheck calculators and some other tools that we have. So I think it kind of balances it out. Yes. So
so that's still great, because if 85% of your traffic is coming from relevant content, then that's really significant. And I think that's something that I think that a lot of our audience would love to kind of understand more about is how do you create relevant content? How do you get that many people coming along to the site? And also, what are your conversion rates like? So you talked about the number of visitors that you have, but how many of those people are registering a profile or even an email address on the
right?
On the
so
site?
yes, that's a good question. So the issue that we had, and the issue that we still have, we kind of bandage this issue, but we didn't really fix it fully because the platform is not live yet. You cannot create a profile with us. There's really nothing to create. So I kind of compared our site to a bucket with a hole at the bottom, right? So a lot of things are coming inside, and then all of them are just spilling out as well. So what we did is we created a bunch of pop-ups and ways to subscribe. and a way to say, I would like to receive more jobs like this, or I would like to understand more, get more topics or more interviews. We're doing a lot of industry interviews. For example, we're interviewing people from Marriott's and Four Seasons and the other some Michelin star restaurants and so on and so forth. There's nowhere on the internet where you can find content where someone says, here's how you get a job with Marriott, here are the hiring steps. So that's what we are doing. And surprisingly, the social media is not picking up, at least not per my expectations. We have a few thousand people following us, but the quality of content is amazing. So what we are doing is we are creating content. We are really strict about content that is relevant to us. We will never post anything, or even if we post that was a mistake and we take it down, we would never post anything regarding, let's say, how to cook something or how to prepare something. That's not what we are. We are hiring, we are careers, we are, jobs. That's what we are about. You asked me about the conversions. I can tell you that right now I'm looking at my Google Search Console. We have, just this month, we had 129,000 clicks. Out of these 129,000 clicks, we have 8,000 people subscribe or give us an email. So they are more or less within industry area.
Yeah.
And, it's not something groundbreaking, but it's still, I think, a very good position to be in pre-product phase.
I think so. I mean, if you take that 85% relevancy that you talked about earlier, you're still talking about 6,000 plus emails a month that of a relevant audience, which I think is pretty decent number, and something to be proud of with such a short amount of time of doing this. So I think that's that's really quite impressive. Absolutely. So we've talked quite a bit about the some of the challenges you've had, having a load of content but not having a way of converting people until recently, losing out on a lot of that opportunity. We talked about not even having a live platform yet, but still actually receiving opportunities to post jobs. If you could go back, 12 months, or even 18 months or 24 months when you were starting to think about this, what would you do differently? What would you tell yourself to say, don't make these mistakes?
Well, I can tell you one thing though. So I'll think, because as we said in the beginning, I didn't really prepare for this. So I'm talking from experience.
Yeah.
So I can tell you one thing though. Look at this. We have salary pages. So just think of this thought process. We have salary pages that are telling you how much can waiter make in a certain location. And we have specific pages for each location, for each position, right? And I can tell you that just this month, we had 224,000 impressions on Google, just in this segment. How many clicks do you think we had? Take a wild guess.
224,000.
And I can help you with this. I'm sorry to interrupt. 6.8 is our average position. So we are not like page 5. Obviously, we have so many impressions. So we are 6.8 average. How many clicks do you think we have?
I'd say, let's call it 5%. So 10,000 clicks.
317.
Wow. Okay.
Here's why. Here's why. This, I'm sorry for my language, this sucks. This is bad.
Yeah.
So here's the trap that you, as a founder or a startup, can fall into. So when we started doing this, as I said in the beginning, we were creating content that we hoped to get people to engage with. Then we get them to funnel them to the jobs when the platform comes out. So we started with one of these ideas and we saw salaries going like this. And we saw like 10,000 impressions. We're like, holy moly, like, look at this. What happens is that what's the actual intent behind this? Someone is Googling, and I can click on queries. Someone is Googling, how much do waiters make? And I'm a number one position. But you know what's the problem? The problem is that Google actually replies. The snippet from Google says
Yeah.
an average waiter salary is 34.5 thousand in, I don't know, Tampa, Florida, right?
Yeah.
And that basically fulfills the entire need, and no one needs to click, right? So the issue that we basically did, the mistakes that we made in the beginning, is that we were chasing some numbers. These numbers are amazing. We saw that it's low difficulty. We went for it, and so on and so forth. But we didn't think about what's the actual need. Person just want to see the number and they go elsewhere. They don't even need to click. So there's a bunch of these ideas that we had that we thought are going to be amazing, and then we just failed. They didn't give us any results,
Yeah, I think that's interesting, and I think that's the same challenge that so many job boards and so many websites are now having from an SEO perspective, is that they've created all of this content, and now Google's just showing it as an answer, and I absolutely get that everyone's struggling. So
Yep.
so where would you put your efforts into if you could do it again to get around that challenge?
So I think what we did is really the right way to do these things. And I don't think it's just for the job, but I think for anything. I was thinking recently, if I opened an electrician's business, I would do exactly the same. I would try to rank for SEO, and I would only do it organically, nothing else.
Okay.
When I say organically, I don't mean I wouldn't pay for anything. I would pay for links. You need to do some link building. You need to do some PR. You need to build some brand. Brand and SEO go hand in hand because of the brand recognition and because of the relevancy in the industry. If you're just pounding your chest saying, "Look how amazing I am," and "Look how much content I have," no one's gonna care. But if some other people start talking about you, then you get the actual, actually you get recognized, and then you get, you get that. So I would do exactly the same. What I would do maybe different. I would maybe go faster, and develop faster our platform. I would maybe even have a step in the middle, like, because what we are launching right now is a full-fledged product.
Okay.
It's a piece of art platform that's going to have, I'm not going to say everything and then people think too many features. No, I'm just going to say we have everything that a very senior platform that is possibly years on the market has. It's not an
Yeah.
MVP. It's not a product that you launch and that's it. What I would do different, and I would have a middle step where you have much less features, and then already are in the marketplace and already are charging. We were hoping to have these results in the year 3 or 4. We have these results in the year 1. So we are
Okay.
kind of like jump starting our timeline for about 2 years, and we are going to start implementing our revenue models
Interesting.
from day one, basically.
Interesting. Interesting. So plans for this year, very much launching the platform in February, and then going for kind of incredible growth over the coming 12 months. Does that sound about right for your plans for the next 12 months?
Well, I'm expecting to launch the platform and then say, "Uh-oh," you know, to see all the issues that come with it, because you don't, nothing can go smooth ever.
Mhm.
Everything has some issues, and I'm fully expecting that. I'm telling this to my team. I'm telling them, there is gonna be people who are unsatisfied. You have LinkedIn. By the way, this is another thing to maybe consider. If you're running a job board, you will get bad feedback or bad reviews, no matter what. No
Yeah.
matter what. Why? Is because companies want to hire fast. Companies that have jobs on LinkedIn and Indeed don't get any candidates. They have a job on our board. They don't get any candidates, and then come to me and said, your job board is bad. Why am I not getting any candidates?
Yeah.
And I'm saying, why don't you ask LinkedIn, who has, I don't know, 800 million people there, and I have
Yeah.
200,000 people here. I'm a drop in the bucket. So like, go ask them and tell me, what can I do? So people really need to, teams really need to be, thinking long term and not get distracted by these kind of things. But to come back for our plan for 2025. So we are launching now in late February. It's going to be probably February 28th. That's our deadline. Our founder told us you have to launch in February, so it's February 28th. And of course, every day matters. and then we are going after, we're going to we're going to build more teams. We're going to build a sales team, a customer service team, an outreach team. All of that is coming. Then we're going to double down on some branding. And our phase 1.5 is already basically underway, which we will involve a few AI ideas. That's very exciting. Some automations, some AI, some automations for SEO. I'm just going to say, I'm not going to go into details because this is something that is really, really high end. And I think it's not something people are thinking about, but we're going to find ways to automate our SEO optimizations. So we're going to identify automatically how pages that are underperforming in terms of SEO, in terms of click-through rates, in terms of whole sentiment, and then automatically we're going to identify them, and then we're going to re-optimize them, and then we're going to track automatically all of this and get basically alerts and so on and so forth. We're building a bunch of agents and a bunch of all of these things and all that. So it's really a think tank here. So that's like the next phase. And then phase after that, we are going after basically our vision is to, this is probably not going to happen this year, but maybe next year. Our vision is to become not the hiring board, but to become the networking platform. We want to have your career here. We want you to connect with other people. We don't want to be a social network. It's not going to be something that you post and you likes and all that. No, it's going to be a platform where you find not like-minded people, but like people from the same career, same areas, and so you can connect and find new opportunities. That's it. It's not LinkedIn. It's very bare bones LinkedIn.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely. And I like this thought process of kind of automated conversion rate optimization. I think that's sorely needed for a lot of job boards. So that sounds really, really exciting. That Milos, we've got to the end of our time, unfortunately. I could talk to you about this for forever. Automating things like conversion rate optimization is absolutely fascinating. But in the meantime, wishing you best of luck with all of your plans for 2025, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks so much, Martin. Yeah, we have to do the Joe Rogan type, 3 hours at least.
At least. Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. And